to Couch Casual, and today we're going to be continuing our little off-season mini-series where we preview every division, or every team, just by division. Last time we did the AFC East, and now we're going to be briefly talking about the AFC West with the Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. And again, before we get into this video, make sure you leave a like and also subscribe so you don't miss more amazing content over here at Couch Casual, and also hit that notification bell so you can be reminded when new videos drop. And also, as usual over here, let me know in the comment section what you agreed with, what you disagreed with. Want to keep this sports discussion open-ended to everyone. And with further ado, let's get right into this AFC West preview. First team I have, or the team I think that will finish the worst, with the worst record of this division, is the Las Vegas Raiders. It is a very tough division, and it is going to be very hard for a bottom team like the Raiders, especially with their quarterback situation, to have a lot of wins. So let's quickly go over their depth chart and then their overall season prediction. So first, for offense, it says here the starter is Aiden O'Connell, even though I think it could be him or Gardner Minshew. Obviously, Gardner Minshew had a great year with the Colts last year, but I do really like Aiden O'Connell. I think he had some very solid flashes last year, getting just sort of thrown into that situation. But I would probably maybe lean Gardner Minshew, just looking at what he did with the Colts last year. But then you look at the running back position, the very deep running back room. You got Zamir White, Alexander Madison, and Amir Abdullah. I really like Zamir White. He was my breakout player for the Raiders. He didn't play much last year, but when he did play, filling in for Josh Jacobs, he was great. Their O-line, I think, is pretty decent. They also added Jackson Powers Johnson out of the draft from Oregon. They still have Colton Miller, Andre James, Dylan Parham. They also have Andres Pete, Cody White here on the bench, so I do like their O-line. They obviously have Devontae Adams. Not much to speak of there. It's Devontae Adams. But I like Jacoby Myers still. I like Michael Gallup. We'll see if he can sort of resurge his career. Don't know if Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew are the quarterbacks that can get that done, but I think Michael Gallup can sort of maybe, I don't know if he can get back to his pre-injury self, but I think he can get back to a very good quality receiver. They obviously drafted Brock Bowers in the first round, potential generational prospect at tight end. So if if Gardner Minshew can play like he did for the Colts last year, this could be I think this can actually be a very underrated and sneaky good offense this year. But looking at the defense, I think the defense could be even better. And I feel like the Raiders have a good enough team, but I just feel like this division is so tough and the quarterback play could be inconsistent. But on defense, they obviously picked up Christian Wilkins and paired him with Max Crosby, potentially the best D-line duo in football. Their linebackers, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, solid linebackers, can get the job done. I like them. Their secondary, Marcus Epps, Melrig, Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones, they're decent corners. So I think their offense could be in their offense can range from a variety. I feel like it could be in the 20s, like a 25th best offense, or it could be the upper half, and I think their defense will be roughly in the middle. But despite that, they do have a tough division that they did play in, so I do have them finishing at 5-12. They didn't get the MVP to any of the quarterbacks because I didn't really know who to give it to because I don't know who they're going to play. So I gave MVP to Devontae Adams. I could have gave it to Max Crosby as well, who was my defensive player of the year. Again, not much to talk about with these two, with Adams and Crosby. They're one of the best at their respective positions. And then for the best rookie for the Raiders, I did give it to Brock Bowers just because of how good he was at Georgia and how good of a prospect he was coming out of Georgia. I decided to give him Rookie of the Year for the Raiders because I think being a tight end, he could have a Sam Laporta type season. But that is it for the Raiders. And then we have the next team in the AFC West. I'm going with the Denver Broncos. They obviously had the whole Russell Wilson, Sean Payton drama going on this offseason and the season. They clearly didn't like each other. So they moved on and they went with quarterback Bo Nix to lead their offense this year. Now, so many people are obviously confused by the Bo Nix pick. I actually predict the Bo Nix pick at 12. I just had a feeling, I guess. Especially with all the other quarterbacks going off the board, I could have saw him getting picked. I mean, he produced at Oregon. Like, the numbers, they were incredible, the numbers he would put up in Oregon. So we'll see how he can do his rookie year. He definitely doesn't have the worst situation, but definitely not a Caleb Williams type, J.J. McCarthy type situation. But definitely a lot better than what Drake May is walking into. You have Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, Jaleel McLaughlin, who are all solid running backs. I do like Javonte Williams. The injury has seemed to hinder him somewhat, like getting back to what he was before it. But I still think he could be a solid receiver or running back. Excuse me. They still have Tim Patrick, and they also drafted Troy Franklin, Bo Nix's teammate at Oregon. So maybe that connection could help Bo Nix out and Troy Franklin as well. But outside of that, they also have Cortland Sutton at receiver, who seems to every other week make one of the best catches of the season. Josh Reynolds is, just a solid receiver. Reliable guy. And then Marvin Mims had a pretty decent rookie season. So the receiver room is actually not awful, despite trading away Jerry Jeudy. Tight end, I like Troutman and Dulcich as well. And then their O-line, Quinn Miners, Mike McGlinchey, Garrett Bowles, Ben Powers. It's a solid O-line. Bo Nix definitely isn't walking into one of the worst situations in the world. And you have Sean Payton at coach, which, as long as he likes you, I think it's a pretty good coach to have. So I definitely could see their offense maybe surprising a lot of people, despite my potential low record that I have them predicted as. Again, it is a very tough division and conference as a whole. But looking at their defense, this is sort of where they've been good at the last few years. Obviously headlined by Patrick Surtain, the standout young corner, who's already arguably the best in the league, but easily top 5, maybe even easily top 3, depending on who you ask. Their linebacker core, I believe they used to have Josie Jewell. I think they lost him, to the Panthers. But they still have Singleton, Baron Browning as well. Now, I know they have a rookie quarterback, but I would not actually be surprised, despite this not seeming to be the case over the last few years. I could definitely see their offense being better than their defense this season. Especially if Bo Nix can actually have a solid rookie season. But despite that, I do have them actually tying with the Raiders and also going 5-12. I didn't want to give MVP to Bo Nix, so I gave it to PS2 instead, as well as Defensive Player of the Year. Not much to say there. One of the best corners of football, as we mentioned. Offensive Player of the Year, I did want to give it to Cortland Sutton. Again, you saw the catches he made last year. If I'm Bo Nix, I'm throwing Cortland Sutton the ball almost every time. If not him, I'm throwing it to Troy Franklin, because I know how to play with Troy Franklin. But I since it looks like he is going to start, I did give Bo Nix the Rookie of the Year for the Broncos, because I think he'll actually have a decent. He might I think statistically he could have a better season than Drake May, despite Drake May probably being the much better quarterback. I think Bo Nix landed in a much better situation. He could end up maybe like a Mac Jones, where he doesn't have the best ceiling, but his floor is pretty high. So he starts off pretty, like Mac Jones started off as one of the best rookie quarterbacks in the draft class. I think he was in the playoffs his rookie year. He might even went to the Pro Bowl. But then he sort of kind of reached that ceiling quickly. I'm not going to put a ceiling on Bo Nix, but I could see him maybe starting a lot because he is a very experienced quarterback. He played a lot of years in college, so I could see him starting pretty well at the beginning and then maybe not. And then maybe a guy like Drake May, once he gets a better situation, could surpass him. But moving on to the next team who does have an established quarterback, that is the Los Angeles Chargers. I do have them as the second best team in this division with their new Harbaugh coach. The brothers are back in the league coaching. Unfortunately, they can't coach in the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure they play each other this year. But anywho, looking at the offense, obviously, Justin Herbert, franchise quarterback, one of the best in the league. Not much to say there. Their running back position, they did lose Austin Eckler, which you could see Austin Eckler definitely has lost a step. So maybe it was good to move to a Ravens running back room. It's just the Ravens running back room. It's Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Now, obviously, that's not a terrible running back room, but the whole talk of the Chargers offense has been the receiver core. You lose Keenan Allen, you lose Mike Williams, and you're left with Josh Palmer, who I don't mind Josh Palmer. I think he's a decent receiver. Quentin Johnston, obviously, very, very rough rookie season. We'll see how he can bounce back. Ladd McConkey, very good route runner. I really like him out of Georgia. DJ Chark has his moments of making incredible catches and then incredibly stupid drops as well. So, very inconsistent at times for DJ Chark, but still a solid receiver. But I don't think the receiver core is as bad as people have made it seem. It's still not great, don't get me wrong. But you have Josh Palmer. Ladd McConkey's a good rookie, I believe. I like what DJ Chark can have his moments, and if Quentin Johnston can bounce back, it's not an awful receiver room. Their tight ends definitely aren't very good. Will Dissly's okay. Hayden Hurst is whatever, in my opinion. Donald Parham is really tall, so I think they should utilize him more because how tall is he? Like 6'8", 6'9"? But the O-line, I think, is actually very solid. Rashawn Slater's obviously one of the better tackles. Joe Alt, the best tackle out of the draft. Bozeman's a decent center. He's okay. Zion Johnson's decent as well. Again, Justin Herbert is he's gonna have to carry this offense, but there's not many quarterbacks who could, and I think Justin Herbert is a quarterback who could carry it to a decent offense. Maybe not above average, but it could still be a very good offense because he's obviously that good of a quarterback. But moving on to the defense, very veteran-led defense with Derwin, Bosa, Perryman, Khalil Mack, Morgan Fox. They did draft Junior Colson out of Michigan. I really like Asante Samuel. Christian Fulton isn't a bad pickup as well. It's a decent team, decent defense. Obviously, you have Justin Herbert, Bosa, Derwin, Khalil Mack has had some very good statistical seasons despite his older age. But I overall have the Chargers finishing at 9-8. As we know, second in the AFC West. I did give the MVP to Justin Herbert because if they're going to win 9 games, I assume Justin Herbert would have had to have an amazing season. I don't see them winning 9 games without Herbert putting up, forget Chargers MVP, just MVP numbers in general. Defensive Player of the Year, I did decide to give that to Derwin James. It was probably him or Bosa. I've seen things of Bosa potentially getting traded, so I don't really know if he's going to be on the Chargers. But I would assume Derwin James is going to be on the Chargers, so I decided to give him. I think he'll be the best player on defense this year. And then Rookie of the Year, I wanted to give it to Lad McConkey, but I decided to give it to Joe Alt because I feel like him and Slater are going to be one of the better tackle duos in football, at least young tackle duos. And if Herbert can put up these numbers, he's going to need Joe Alt to give him some good protection, and I think he could do that. And I think he could put up not necessarily numbers. He's a lineman, but I think he can have a very good season. And then lastly, but not least, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, the team we all want to lose if we're not a Chiefs fan. But unfortunately, they are really good. There's probably not going to talk too much on the Chiefs offense. The Chiefs team as a whole, it's pretty much the same. But offensively, obviously, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Pacheco, Travis Kelce. They signed Marquise Brown. They still have Rashee Rice. You drafted Xavier Worthy. So I feel like Xavier Worthy has potential to have like an okay season this year, like not even that, like less than like 800 yards, or he's going to have like 1,200, 1,300 plus. Because if there's a team that can use that speed and utilize it, it is the Chiefs and Andy Reid. Obviously, their O-line is pretty good with Tooney, at least the interior of it with Tooney, Creed Humphrey, obviously arguably best center in football without Kelce, and then Trace without Jason Kelce, and then Trey Smith. Not much to talk about the Chiefs' offense. They're going to be really good. Same with their defense with Spagnuolo, Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Tranquil, Bolton, Trent McDuffie, Justin Reed, Jalen Watson. It's going to be a really good defense. There's honestly not much to talk about when it comes to the Chiefs. I'll probably just skip to the end here with their record. I have them winning 13 games, going 13-4. Mahomes, obviously, the MVP of the team, best player on offense. I went the best player on defense. I wanted to put Chris Jones, but I wanted to give it to Trent McDuffie. I think Trent McDuffie could. Some people already have him in like top 5 corner conversations. I think he could maybe solidify himself as a consensus top 5, top 8 corner in the league after this season. I really like Trent McDuffie, especially without L'Jarius Sneed. He's going to have to be the number one. He's going to have to be the guy that goes against the number 1 receivers every time. If he can have a good season, you'll look at who he went against and you'll have to put him up there in the conversation for one of the better corners. So I had him as the best player on defense. And then Rookie of the Year, I gave it to Xavier Worthy. Again, he could have a rocky season or he could have a really good season. I didn't really know what other rookie to give for the Chiefs Rookie of the Year, so I decided to just go with their first-round pick, Xavier Worthy. And that leaves us to our standings for the overall season. I have the Chiefs, as we mentioned, going 13-4. Chargers, second place, 9-8. And then the Broncos and Raiders rounding it out at 5-12 each. And that will conclude my AFC West preview. Again, let me know in the comment section your thoughts, agree, disagree. And again, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and also turn that notification bell so you don't miss more of these division previews and videos overall. But that'll be it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.